see few meanings. The first one is solar radiation. The meaning of solar radiation is the flux of radiant energy from the sun. So the flux of radiant energy from the sun means we are having short wavelengths, long wavelengths from the sun. So in what wavelength solar radiation is coming from the sun? At what energy? Actually the sun is emitting the sunlight from the sun. We are having short wave and long wave. Short wave means the radiant energy which is emitted from the sun. Long wave means other bodies like from Earth's surface, the wavelength which is emitted again back, that will be considered as a long wavelength. So next one is radiation flux. Listen carefully. Radiation flux means the amount of radiant energy emitted, received, transmitted across a particular area. So if we see here, three terms we are using. The first one is emitted, the second one is received, and third one is transmitted. So from the sun we are receiving certain amount of energy. That energy sun is emitting. Sun is emitting means sun is releasing the solar radiation. That means that, let us say, energy. So that energy which is released called emitted. The energy which is emitted from the sun will be received by the earth. Let us take an example. Received by the earth. So received, then transmitted. After the energy received by the sun, that energy has to be transmitted from one place to the other surface. For example, let us take a surface. So here soil particles will be there. On the surface, incoming solar radiation just hitting on the surface of the soil, and that, so first surface of the soil will become hot. Then slowly that heat will be transferred to the lower depths of the soil. That is called transmitted. So first the surface of the earth will get hot, followed by the inner particles. That means from one soil particle to the other soil particle to the inner depths, the heat will be transformed. That's called transmitted across a particular area. That all together we call radiation flux. So solar energy is emitted from the sun, and that was received by the earth's surface and as well as transmitted to the inner depths of the earth's surface. So these all together called radiation flux. Then the next one is emissive power. Emissive power means the radiant flux density emitted by a source. So how much radiation flux is emitted by a source we call emissive power. This much amount of energy can be emitted by that particular source. For example, let us take the sun. From sun, how much amount of energy is actually emitted, that we call emissive power. That much power the sun is having. So these are the few definitions. These all are very important: solar radiation, radiation flux, emissive power for the examination. Now let us see the measurement of energy. In this we are having three types. So in three forms we can measure: calories, centimeter square per minute; joules, Joules, joule centimeter square per minute; and watts, centimeter square. Watts means WATTS, watt centimeter square. So any of this unit we can use to measure energy. Then the next one is spectrum radiation. So this is very important topic. In spectrum radiation we are having, see, from the sun we are getting three types of rays: ultraviolet rays, visible rays, and infrared rays. So we are having the band. In the band, from the band, just to know in detail, so from the sun we are getting two. The first one is solar radiation, the second one is heat, thermal energy. Solar radiation is nothing but light, then the heat. So two sources we are getting from the sun: solar radiation and heat. So solar radiation will be utilized by the plant for its photosynthetic activity, and because of heat plant will lose the water, that means transpiration. Also from the surface of the earth evaporation will happen. So this heat we call thermal energy also. So we are having three types of rays: ultraviolet rays, visible rays, and infrared rays. Visible rays, which are the rays which are visible to our human naked eye. So ultraviolet rays means they are very chemically very active in nature. So because of which we are having ozone layer. Ozone layer is filtering ultraviolet rays like gamma rays, X-rays, cosmic rays. These are the rays which are filtered by the ozone layer, and that is protecting us. If there is no ozone layer, then these ultraviolet rays will directly fall on the surface of the earth, and we can say there won't be any life on the earth. Then visible light. Visible light means with our human eye, what are the colors we all are seeing? VIBGYOR we call violet, indigo, blue, green, orange, red, yellow. So these are the colors, 7 colors will be emitted from the sun. And one more thing, why plants are in green in color means plants are just reflecting only green color. The remaining all the colors which are from the visible light are taking in. The reflected color only is the green color. That's why they are in green in color. Then the infrared rays. Infrared rays are something they don't participate in photosynthesis, but they give heat energy, that means thermal energy, THERMAL, thermal energy. So because of which transpiration is happening, evaporation is happening, and even for human body also dehydration, sweating is happening. So infrared rays and visible rays, these are the rays which are very important for human life, even plant life. But ultraviolet rays are the rays which are very dangerous. So that is the reason why we have ozone layer, and that is the reason why we need to protect ozone layer by avoiding environmental pollution, by bringing down the factories and urbanization and all. Let us see the spectrum radiation band. As just now I said, we are having 3 types of rays: ultraviolet rays, visible rays, and infrared rays. So these are the 3 types of rays which are emitted from the sun, and out of which visible rays and infrared rays are useful and ultraviolet rays are harmful. So these ultraviolet rays are filtered by ozone layer, and visible rays and infrared rays alone are falling on surface of the earth. Let us see what is the wavelength. See, from 0 to more than 0.76 microns we are having. So these are like a wavelength from the sun. In different wavelengths the rays are emitted. So these wavelengths we measure in the unit called micron, millimicron, and angstrom. Anything we can say. So with micron we show with the symbol of micron, and angstrom with this we display angstrom. So any on which we can measure the wavelength. So let us see what are the ultraviolet rays which are emitted from the surface of the sun. So first one is cosmic rays. Cosmic rays are less than 0.005. The letters numbers are not so visible, but I'll read out. Please look carefully, please note down. These are very important for the examination. So cosmic rays are, the wavelength of the cosmic rays is less than 0.005 microns. Then another rays which are emitted from the ultraviolet is gamma and X-rays, or gamma and X-rays, which are 0.005 to 0.20. The band width is. So this is called band. I'm just saying this is called band so that we can know, okay, this wavelength is ultraviolet wavelength, this wavelength is visible wavelength, this wavelength is infrared wavelength. Just we have taken as a band to differentiate the different wavelengths. So 0.005 to 0.20 are gamma rays and X-rays, and 0.20 to 0.39 are ultraviolet rays. So remember, in ultraviolet rays less than 0.005 to up to 0.39 microns, millimicrons, which are these all are ultraviolet rays. Then next one is from 0.39 microns to up to 0.76 microns. See, if you are finding so difficult to say 0.39 microns to 0.76 microns, you can say 0.3 nanometers to 390 nanometers to 760 nanometers. By removing the point, we can say 390 to 760 nanometers is the bandwidth of visible light. So this bandwidth is very important for the plant life. So in which we are having few colors: violet, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, and also indigo also is there. So these are the colors which are visible to our naked eye, and these are the colors which are falling on the surface of the plant, and they are effectively using that light for its photosynthetic activity. So from 0.39 to 0.42 microns is the violet, and 0.4 to 0.49 is for blue, and 0.49 to 0.54 is for green, 0.54 to 0.59 for the yellow light, and 0.59 to 0.65 for orange light, and 0.65 to 0.76 is for red. So out of which, what is the question on important blank I am telling, out of this visible light band we are having different colors, but red visible wavelength is the one which will effectively work in photosynthetic activity. Then up beyond which band, the next band is infrared radiation, the wavelength in which beyond 0.76 whatever this is, everything is infrared rays where temperature will be very high. So in this it's all about heat, thermal energy. So this energy is used for transpiration as well as evaporation, the heat energy. So this is all about the band. From the sun, three rays are coming out: ultraviolet rays, visible rays, infrared rays. Based on the bandwidth they have differentiated. So the low one is ultraviolet, in the middle which is useful visible, and the last one is infrared which is beyond 0.76 microns. So this is all about the spectral radiation band, the wavelength band, which is measured in microns or millimicron or angstrom. Now let us see some of the important points which are related to solar radiation. The first one is absorptivity, reflectivity, second one, the next one is transmittivity, emissivity, black body radiation, and radiation balance. So earlier we have discussed about the absorptivity. Absorptivity means the amount of solar radiation which is absorbed by the particular body, maybe surface of the earth. Again, reflectivity means the amount of energy which absorbed, from which how much amount of solar radiation reflected back. That's called reflectivity. Then transmittivity means the amount of solar radiation which absorbed, how much, out of which how much amount of solar radiation transfer from one body to another. That means one soil particle to the another soil particle. As an example I am saying. Then emissivity means it's all about emittivity. Out of black body, how much amount of solar radiation received, from which how much amount of solar radiation, solar energy emitted again back. That's called emissivity. Then black body radiation, this is very important. Black body radiation means here there won't be any reflectivity, there won't be any transmittivity or emissivity. How much amount of radiation, the solar energy which comes, total amount of solar energy it will take in, that is called black body radiation. So if you see, when we compare with the white color and black color receives more amount of heat compared to the white. That is the reason why in summer season people ask us to wear light colored dress, but in winter season people ask us to wear dark colored dress. The reason is dark color always creates heat, white color emits or reflects heat. So black body absorbs more amount of solar energy. Then the next one is radiation balance. Radiation balance is nothing but the difference between the incoming and outgoing solar energy is called radiation balance. So difference between the incoming and outgoing solar radiation is called radiation balance. Then the next one is solar constant. Solar constant means how much amount of energy actually we are receiving to that particular area is called solar constant. Then the next one is albedo. I am repeating, solar constant means how much amount of energy that we are receiving to that particular area is called solar constant. Then the next one is albedo. Albedo means, see, albedo is more or less equal to the reflectivity. Albedo means more or less equal to the reflected. That means total amount of solar radiation that we receive, out of which how much amount of solar radiation again reflecting back. That reflected back solar radiation we call albedo. Albedo means the reflected solar energy or radiation we call albedo, in which we are having, see, when we look at different materials, like for example, let us look at pure water, where for example let us say 100 out of 100% of incoming solar radiation, pure water is able to take up to 80 to 95% solar radiation. The remaining 5 to 20% is again reflecting back. When we look at the vegetation is reflecting back 10 to 40% of the incoming solar radiation. That means how much amount of solar radiation it falls on that particular vegetation, again they are reflecting back of around 10 to 40%. Why? The range is based on the crop, it will be varied, and the crop cover means how much area actually it occupied the ground. Then soils, we are having different colors of soil, sandy soil, red soil, black soil. Based on the color it will be varied. 15 to 50% of albedo can be happen. So 15% may be like some sandy soil, or even not sandy soil, black soil. In black soil albedo will be very less, but when it comes to the sandy soil or any light textured soils where albedo will be very high, up to 50%. Then an average on earth 34 to 43% of albedo is happening. In clouds are able to reflect back 55% of incoming solar radiation. So here we have to discuss about the clouds. So the incoming solar radiation that actually we are receiving from the sun, that entire amount of incoming solar radiation is not falling on the surface of the earth. The reason is in between clouds are there. Clouds also reflecting back the incoming solar radiation, and some amount of solar radiation there itself is reflected back, and the leftover only is falling on the earth's surface. So albedo is very important. So this albedo actually depends on angle of incidence of radiation, physical characteristics of surface, season, time of the day. So based on these factors albedo will be varied. Angle of incidence of radiation means at what angle actually solar radiation is falling on the surface of the earth. Then the next one is physical characteristics of the surface. So soil type, whether it is sandy soil or clay soil or clay loamy soil or silt soil, based on which this will be varied. Again season, in summer season incoming solar radiation will be very high, automatically albedo will be very high. But in winter season, because of the long night time, the short duration of daytime season, in winter season albedo will be less. And time of the day, again in the early morning albedo will be very less because of the less incoming solar radiation, but in the noon time the incoming solar radiation will be high, so accordingly albedo varies. Then if we look at the plant community regarding albedo, three are there: age of the crop, percentage of ground cover, and color and reflectivity of foliage. So age of the crop means in the early ages, when they are at seedling stage, the ground cover will be very less because the height of the plant is very small, and also the expose of the foliage to the sunlight also will be very little, so albedo will be very less. But when crop matures, or when it's about to harvest, the maximum height it will attain, and they'll expose much to the sunlight, and albedo will be very high. And percentage of ground cover, here few crops are there which grow very close to the ground, like pulses, groundnut, and vegetables or creepers, some of the crops which will cover entire ground area. So percent of ground cover plays major role. Some crops are there which are very tall, like sorghum, maize, red gram. These are the crops which will grow tall, but they won't spread like close growing crops to the ground. So next one is color and reflectivity of foliage. Here what is the type of color of the foliage? See, some crops will have pale green, some crops will have dark green. So based on the color the albedo will be varied. So these are the things which we need to learn about the plant community, in which how albedo will happen. And here different things are there: pure water, vegetation, soils, earth and clouds, and different material, how albedo is happening, and what are the main factors which cause albedo. And in plant community, how. These are the things we need to remember regarding albedo. The meaning of temperature is average speed of atoms and molecules. That means how the temperature is spreading from one molecule to the another molecule. The transfer of heat, already we have seen how heat is spreading from one molecule to the another molecule, and this is called temperature. Then the next one is kinetic energy. Energy of motion, that means how energy is moving from one place to the another place. Motion means nothing but the movement. So this is little thing that we need to remember. Heat, next one is heat is nothing but aggregate internal energy of motion and molecules of a body. That means whatever the thing that is transferred from one molecule to the another molecule, at particular level after transfer they will be all the molecules will be together and they will show some output, that is called nothing but heat, aggregate internal energy. That energy is nothing but the heat. This is that is motion, that means movement of heat from one molecule to the other molecule in a particular body. That energy is nothing but heat. In heat, two types are there: sensible heat and latent heat. Sensible heat means if we touch any object, if we feel some temperature or heat, that is called sensible heat. Even with a thermometer we can measure sensible heat, but we cannot measure latent heat with the thermometer. Insensible heat, by human touch also we can know it is little hot. By sensing it or by touching it we can know the temperature, even by using thermometer. That is sensible heat. Then the next one is latent heat. In latent heat, we all know water can turn into vapor and also water can turn back to ice. So in liquid nature it can, and in vapor and also in solid. So gas, liquid and solid. Water is having the capability to turn to as a gas stage, that is water vapor, and water can become solid, that is ice. So from water to, that means from liquid form to turn vapor, that means gas form, how much energy is it really taking? I am not talking about the heat, I am talking about the energy. How much energy is it really taking to turn from one thing to the other, that means from liquid stage to vapor stage. So how much energy is it taking? For example, let us take it is taking some 600 calories, and from water to, again if we look back to, instead of turning to the gas stage, let us think about the solid stage. So to turn gas stage, I said 600 kilocalories it has taken, but to turn from water to solid stage, that is ice stage, it may take some 80 kilocalories. So from liquid to gas it has taken 600 kilocalories, but from liquid to solid it has taken only 80 kilocalories. So some energy it is requiring to turn from one substance to the other substance. So this energy we call latent heat. So how it is depending on and how it is converting from one substance to the other substance, that we call latent heat. This change of state through evaporation and condensation, see if in meteorological terms we call condensation. Condensation means transferring of water molecule into ice crystals, that we call condensation. It is known as latent heat. Then next one is light. So let us see the importance of light in agriculture crops. We already have explained the light bandwidth is from 0.39 to 0.76 microns. So this is the light bandwidth which is very useful for the crop production. Then the next one is light is playing major role in chlorophyll. So that means nothing but the photosynthesis. In chlorophyll is the one which will take the light energy, and that is called radiant energy. Radiant energy, by the process of photosynthesis, it will be converted into potential energy. Potential energy means in the process of the final output is nothing but the carbohydrate. So the potential energy carbohydrate. So because of light only this carbohydrate can be manufactured in the plant. Without light plant cannot manufacture the carbohydrate. So the entire world, human being, is just indirectly depending on the sunlight. So because of sunlight this chlorophyll is happening, ultimately carbohydrate is getting ready, and the same carbohydrate on which we are depending on. So for example, if you say rice grain, in rice grain around some 85 to 90% of Rice grain contains carbohydrate, and the carbohydrate is the one which is giving energy to us. Next, all the physiological functions which are happening because of light. And light, let us see the few light characters. Light characters, the first one is intensity of light, then quality of light, and duration of light, and the last one is direction of light. At what intensity light is hitting the surface of the earth and also on the plant, and what quality of light we are coming, and the duration of the light, and what direction light is coming. So these are the four characters which are plays major role in crop production. So the light characters: light intensity, quality of light, duration of light, and direction of light. These are the four characters. Just now we seen. In depth, let us see light intensity. Here how much amount of light actually we are getting, and out of which how much plants are able to utilize. So in light intensity, we measure the light intensity in the units are with by the instrument called lux meter. By the instrument called lux meter. Here the amount of light received at a distance of 1 meter from a standard candle is known as meter candle or lux. So that means, for example, here one candle is there, and from which 1 feet means 30 centimeters. So 1 feet distance, how much this light is able to give. So that we call lux. And the instrument that we use is lux meter. That means light from, for example, here light is there. From this light, as light is emitting to the different areas, so how much distance area the light is really emitting, that in emitting distance area we call light intensity. And also on which what kind of plants are able to come, and how much intensity, at what rate that light is emitting. These all comes under light intensity. In light intensity we are having two: xeophytes and heliophytes. Xeophytes means the plants which love shade. The plants which love shade, and heliophytes means the plants which love sun. That means these plants will come well under shade, and these plants comes well under direct sunlight. So two types are there in light intensity. Then the next one is quality of light. Quality of light is all about, we have discussed when I explained about the visible light. In visible light we are having 7: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. In short form we call VIBGYOR. So these are the 7 colors which will affect the growth of the plant, out of which red color is the visible light which will help mostly to the plant growth and development. And the next one is duration of the light. During the daytime, already in the beginning I explained about the duration of light, how it happens, that day duration, long day, short day, and day neutral. I explained about that. So long day plants means during the daytime the day should be more than 12 hours. So examples of potato, sugar beet, and wheat, and other crops are there. So these are the plants which comes well under long day. And short day plants means the day time should be less than 12 hours, and these are the crops will come well under short day: rice, sorghum, cotton, etc. And day neutral. The day neutral is all about maybe the long day or short day or lesser than that, or the equal, whatever it may be. The crops, they don't depend on long day or short day, but whatever the day it may be, they will come well. So these are the crops: tomato and maize. They come well in day neutral. Day neutral means more or less 12 hours in a day. Then the direction of the light, and at what direction light is falling into the surface of the earth. So at what direction, for example, it is coming to the northern side, then plant foliage should expose to the sunlight to the northern side. That means we have to plant the seed to the northern hill of the ridge. That means ridges and furrows method. If we go for at the ridge northern side, at the half height, we have to sow the maize seed or sorghum seed, whatever it may be the crop. Accordingly we have to choose. If angle of the solar radiation is coming from southern side, means you have to place the seed at the ridge southern side. Accordingly we have to look into the direction of the sunlight is very important. Last one important definition is photomorphogenesis. Photomorphogenesis means change in the morphology of the plant due to light. See, when plant exposed to the light, when it is going through photosynthesis and when it is synthesizing its own food, we can see the growth of the plant and enlargement of the plant cell and multiplication of the plant cell we can see. So growth of the plant we can see. Growth means nothing but the irreversible change of the plant. So because of the light, these are happening. That's why we call photomorphogenesis. Morpho means morphological, photo means light. So photomorphogenesis, change in the morphology of plant due to light. It may be due to ultraviolet radiation or other violet radiations of the sun, because of which plant is getting changed day by day. That's called nothing but the growth of the plant. So from this lecture we have learnt about the solar radiation and how it affects the plant and everything. So whatever I have discussed in this lecture, each and every point is very important, and please note down, and hereafter whatever the lectures I am giving, when we enter into the college, I will be asking the note, whatever you have noted down the points, I will be checking it, and please note down the points and maintain separate notebook for this. Thank you.